Hello, today we are going to talk about methods of finding roots. So we usually face the problem of finding roots as follow. What is the roots of x squared plus 3x plus 2 equals 0? And from junior high, we have learned that if we have x squared plus 3x plus 2, what is the roots? I can factor this out. So I have x plus 2 times x plus 1 equals 0. So x should be minus 2 or x minus 1. So the roots of equation this is what is x, such that if you substitute that x into the original equation, it will give you 0. So minus 2 and minus 1 is the roots of this equation x squared plus 3x plus 2 equals 0. Geometrically, if we want to find what is the roots of x squared plus 3x plus 2, we are finding the x-intercept. So this is the graph of x squared plus 3x plus 2. And when is x squared plus 3x plus 2 equals 0, at x such that x squared plus 3x plus 2 equals 0 is x equals minus 1. This is the x-intercept of the graph, and minus 2. So when we are looking for the roots of this equation, we are looking at the what is geometrically, we are looking at the x-intercept of this equation. So what about x squared plus x minus 3? Oh, you cannot factor this out. But you know from your elementary junior high, you can use the ABC formula. So if I have ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, that is the same similar that we have already here. X squared plus x minus 3. So a should be 1 because x squared is just 1 times x squared. B should be 1 and c equals minus 3. And I can plug into the formula x1 and 2 is just minus b plus or minus. Plus correspond to x1, minus correspond to x2. So minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. If I want to find x1, I just use the plus here. So I have minus 1 plus something here, and I get minus 1 plus the square root of 13 divided by 2. That's why we cannot factor it out. What about x2? x2 is just changing plus this into minus. So I have minus 1 minus square root of 13 divided by 2. What about this equation? X cubed minus 1. So I can use algebraically solve this. I can factor this out by some luck. You can factor this out. So you have x equals 1 or x squared plus x plus 1 equals 0. So the solution should be x equals 1. So 1 should be the roots of this equation, or x squared plus x plus 1 equals 0. But you cannot factor this also, but factorize this also, but you cannot, you can use the ABC formula and you encounter the square root of negative. So you don't have x2 and x2, x1 and x2 from this equation. So you just have one roots, that is x equals 1, that satisfies x cubed minus 1 equals 0. So what about if I have this one? Oh, if you want to know, there is some formula that we usually call Cardano formula. The that one for number 5, you can use Cardano formula also, but it is very burdensome. So we usually want to know what is the roots of this equation. If we cannot solve it algebraically, I mean like this, how do we find the roots? So we usually find the roots using numerical method. So today we are going to talk about the methods for finding roots numerically. So the method for finding roots numerically is classified as two methods. It can be classified as in two methods: bracketing methods and open methods. For bracketing methods, you need to have a guess on the location of the roots. But for the open methods, you don't have to guess where is the location of the roots. I mean is this one. If you have this graph, I know the roots is just something near -1 or something -2. If I have maybe another one, what is the roots of this? The roots is between -2 and -2.5. But what is this? I don't know. But it is near that. How do I find this? You can use the bracketing method. So you have to have a guess where is the location of the roots. But for the open methods, you don't have to know where is the location of the roots. So now, the first bracketing methods is graphical method. Yeah, graphical method, you just find the intercept. So the x-intercept is -1, and this one is 1. So you know that y equals fx here. I don't know what is fx here, but its root is given by are given by x equals -1 and x equals 1. What about if I have y equals fx as this? So the roots is between -1 and -1.5, maybe -1.4 maybe, or this is maybe 1.4. We cannot determine it exactly. We can just guess, and unfortunately the accuracy depends on our eyes. That is when we can draw the function. But what if we can't draw the function? We have to use another method for bracketing methods. That is what we usually call a bisection method. Let's say that we want to find the x-intercept of this. So we want to find x such that x squared plus x minus 1 equals 0. This is wrong, sorry. This should be x squared plus x minus 1 equals 0. So in this bisection method, our tool is the intermediate value theorem. We have discussed this on Business Mathematics 1. So if f is a continuous function on interval a and b, then there is a constant c in interval AB such that FC between FA and FB. We just gonna use the consequence of intermediate value theorem. That is when f is continuous on A and B, and if FA is positive, FB is negative, there is always C such that FC equals 0. That means if we have here A is -3, B is -1, FA is plus I mean it is on the upper of the x-intercept, and the value of f at -1 is negative. So some are positive and the other end of interval is negative. So there will be C between -3 and -1 that give you the height 0. The same way, if I look at the interval 0 to 14 here, and when f0 it give you a negative number, and the value f at 14 give you a positive number, so it will there will be some c between 0 and 14 that have the height 0. What is the height 0? It is the x-intercept. So This means as long as we can find A and B such that FA is positive, FB is negative, the roots is between A and B. And the same is FA is negative and FB is positive, there will always be roots as long as the F should be a continuous one. Remember, yeah? So, now we are going to find the roots of x squared plus x minus 1 equals 0. We need to find the location of the roots first. What is the location of the roots? If I look at f, the value f at 0, it is minus 1. The value f of 1 is 1. So, because f is continuous, why? Because f is just a polynomial. Polynomial is a continuous function everywhere. Then the root must be between 0 and 1. How do we find these roots? We can divide the interval 0, 1 into 0, a half, and a half to 1. And I can find the value of f at a half is minus 1 over 4. Could you imagine? Look at this. When a is 0, fa is minus 1. When b is 1, fb is 1. The middle between a and b is just c. That is a half. How do you find this? 0 plus 1 divided by 2. That is a half. So f of c is minus 1 over 4. Can you guess now? Where is the location of the roots? Between 0 and a half, or a half, or between a half and 1? You're right. So the roots should be between a half and 1. Why? Because if you guess the roots is between a 0 and a half, you know the value of f at a is negative and the value of f at c is negative. So there are no changes of sign. So you cannot, you maybe have a roots of this equation, but you maybe not. But if you look carefully, at C is minus, at B is positive. So you have something that is positive here, something negative. So there is always one that is give you 0. So now the okay, this means by the intermediate value theorem, the roots will be between a half and 1. Why? Because we have a negative and a positive. Negative and positive. So it should be between the negative and positive, because 0 is between negative and positive. So we want to find f such that it is 0. So you have positive, you have negative. So 0 should be somewhere between this and this. FB and FC. So between B and C, between a half and 1. So we can use the same game. A is just a half, B is just 1, and I know FA is minus 1/4, and FB is just 1. So I know what is the middle between a half and 1, that is just a half plus 1 divided by 2, that is 3 over 4, and FC is 5 over 16. So can you now guess, where is the roots of this function? What x in what interval does the roots of this equation have? Is it between a half and 3 over 4, or between 3 over 4 and 1? You're right. It must be between a half and 3 over 4. Why? Because FA is a negative and FC is positive. So you have a plus and minus. Plus and minus. So you should have the roots must be between A and C. So you can have the same game for A and C. find the middle part, and find FA, FB, FC. Now, where is the location of the roots will be? The next iteration. Between A and C or C and B? You're right. It must be between A and C. Why? Because FA is negative and FC is positive. Negative and positive, there will be always just one value between A and C that will give you F of that value equals 0. Okay, ya. Compare the exact value and approximation using bisection method to find the roots of x squared plus x minus 1 at interval 0.1. So the exact value, if you use the ABC formula, x should be square root of 5 minus 1 divided by 2. So it is approximately 0.618. The approximation after 3 times iteration, this means first iteration, second iteration, third iteration. So the first trial, second trial, third trial. So we usually call this iteration. First iteration, second iteration, third iteration. So after the third iteration, you find the roots is, the approximation of the roots is just 5/8. 5/8. That is 0.625. That is very close, isn't it? But we can improve the result by doing more iteration, by using more trial. Things you have to remember is there will always be an error for every approximation you make. The error that will be studied is divided to exact error, the ratio of the difference between the exact value and its approximation with the exact value, relative error, that is the ratio of difference between the last approximation with the previous one, and the last approximation. So we usually don't have this exact value. We usually don't have this. But if we have exact value, we can find exact error. But in the real problem, we cannot have the exact value. So we can all just have the relative error. Exact error, yeah, very hard. So take a look at this bisection table. So for the second iteration, this one, the second row. So you have this is your approximation for the second iteration, 3/4. This is your first approximation, the corresponding to the first trial, or half. So the exact error is your approximation 3/4 minus 0.618, that is given by this, the exact value. Yeah, but we don't usually have this, divided by the exact value, that is 0.2135. So you have the 21% exact error. What about the relative error? That is the difference between this approximation and the previous approximation. That is 3/4 minus a half. Don't forget, this is in absolute value. So it should give you a positive one, divided by, so it should be absolute value here also, divided by 3/4. That is 0.6667. So 66% of the relative error. So what about the third iteration? This is the third iteration, the third row. This is the third approximation, second approximation, first approximation. So the third approximation for the exact error is the third approximation, 5/8, minus the exact value divided by exact value. This will give you 1.13%. And what about the relative error? The relative error is 5/8 the difference between this approximation and the previous approximation, that is 3/4, divided by the latest approximation, that is 5/8. So it will give you a 20% error. In general, we don't know the exact solution, so we usually use the relative error instead. So that is the first, the second bracketing method that we know, that is the bisection method. Next, we will look at the open methods. There will be two open methods that will be discussed. That is the first fixed point method. So for a certain kind of equation, we can use the first open method, the fixed point method, to find the roots of equation. Let's say that we want to find the roots of square root of x squared plus x minus 1 equals 0. So I want to find what is x such that it satisfies this equation. And I can write x equals, we can let minus 1 into the right hand side, half x squared into the right hand side. So I have this one, x as a function of the other variable. So I can write x is just x of n plus 1. On the right hand side, you can use the xn. So here we have a nonlinear first order difference equation. Okay, yeah. But we don't learn the nonlinear first order difference equation. So we will just do numerically. Now the iteration with initial condition, let's say the initial condition x0 equals 1. Then we have x1 is just minus a half x0 squared plus 1 using this formula. X0 is just 1, so you have minus a half times 1 squared plus 1 equals a half. And for x2 is just 7 over 8. x3 is 0.716171. So what about the relative error? Yeah, the relative error for the second iteration is given by the difference between this and this divided by this times 100%. What is the relative error for the third iteration? The difference between this and this divided by absolute value of this, so it will give you the relative error. For what is the exact error? If you have the exact value, you can find the difference between a half and the exact value divided by exact value times 100%. What about in the second iteration? What is the exact value? If you know the exact value, the exact error, if you know the exact value, you can find the difference between this one and the exact value divided by the exact value. You can find the exact error for the second trial or second iteration, and you can do that for the third trial or third iteration also. So the last one we should discuss is for the open method. It's just a Newton-Raphson method. Iteration will be done using first order difference equation such as this. Yeah, this one is just an equation of a line, but yeah, okay, if you are interested, I can show you how you get this. If you don't want to know, it's fine also. Let's use this. Let's say we want to find the root of x squared plus x minus 1. Maybe you have the initial condition x0 equals 1. Then you have x1 is just x0 minus f at x0 divided by f prime x0. That is the derivative of f at x0. So if you have fx is this, what is f prime x? The derivative of this with respect to x, that is given by 2x plus 1. So you have 1 minus, what is fx0? 1 squared plus 1 minus 1. This is 1 squared, 1 plus 1 minus 1, divided by the derivative of this, 2x plus 1. 2x, x is x0, you can substitute x by x0 here, 1. So 2 times 1 plus 1, so you have 2/3 as your first approximation. And you can do the same trick. What is x2? x2 is x1, 2 over 3, minus fx1. What is fx1? F at 2 over 3. What is f prime x1? Is the derivative of f at 2 over 3. So what is the derivative of this? The same, 2x plus 1. So you have x1, 2 over 3, minus fx1, f at 2 over 3. 2 over 3 squared here, 4 over 9, plus 2 over 3 minus 1. Okay, divided by the derivative 2x plus 1. 2 times x before, x1, 2 over 3 plus 1. So you have 13 over 21. You can do this for x3 and so on. And after the third iteration, you have 0.6180. And the exact value is 0.618. Very, very accurate. Very, very accurate. So using Newton-Raphson is relatively more accurate, better than a bisection method, usually. What about the calculation of exact and relative error? Yeah, it's just the same as before. So today we have already learned how to find the roots. There will be two methods. One is open bracketing methods. The second one is open methods. For the bracketing method, you can have the graphical one, depending on your eyes. You can have a bisection method, by always divide the interval to find the roots, and you can use the open methods, that is the fixed point method and Newton-Raphson method. Okay, thank you.